Hello ladies, welcome back to my channel. It's Jackie, your sister coach and your cheerleader to victory. Ladies, there's been setbacks, but guess what? Greater is he who is in you than he who is of the world. They'll try and stop you, but they cannot, right? Here, the main focus is Christ and the main character is you. And like I always say, I'm constantly praying for you and I am constantly rooting for you. And I genuinely mean that. You know, the purpose of this channel is to build us up in the character, to build us up where it actually matters, right? Because us women, I believe this, we are like the engines of humanity, and God has actively begun his plan of redemption. And my understanding of what redemption is now, as I've just been praying and whatnot, is that it's all to do with restoring our perception, right? Because many of us, including myself, I'll put my hands up, have lived this life with a really distorted revelation of who they are. And that has compromised how, you maybe show up and approach certain situations, how you show up and approach even relationships, right? And so I believe that this conversation is very relevant and equally necessary. And I think that God wants to recalibrate us and reprogram us. So instead of having a point of view, he wants us to have a God view. He wants to be involved with every single thing that takes place in the minds and in the hearts and the lives of his daughters, right? And so the topic of this conversation is about love. It's about love. I'm a lover girl, ladies. Love is the most powerful thing in the world. Love is stronger than death, right? Many waters cannot quench love. See, I'm being a little bit poetic. Many waters cannot quench love, nor rivers overflow it. If all of the richest man gathered in one room, like the Elon Musks, the Jeff Bezos, they put all their money in a pot, guess what? They still wouldn't have enough, because love is too expensive. Love is too rich. Love is too great, right? Love is unfailing. Love is unyielding. Love is unchanging. And of course, we're going to get this subject wrong at times, right? Because it's complicated. It's responsible for why we experience our highest highs and our lowest lows, right? And so I want to talk about singlehood, right? Because being single isn't a death sentence. Being single is a blessing and it is a gift. In fact, being single is fundamental to self-mastery. Okay, put it this way, ladies. You wouldn't eat a frozen chips. Would you eat frozen chips? Would you eat frozen chips? You wouldn't eat a green banana. Why? Because it's not ready. It wouldn't taste nice. So why are we in such a rush, to enter into relationships when we haven't yet mastered self, when we are not right, when we are not ready? And I believe that we're in a time and we live in a society and a generation where fast and furious is championed, right? Instant gratification is esteemed, especially in this culture. If it's not happening today, it will never happen. And that's far from the truth. That's far from the truth. And I think as Christians, it's so easy to fall into these temptations, right? Because we're not exempt. I'm not exempt. And I know you're not exempt. But what we need to remember, that a woman like yourself doesn't happen overnight. A woman like yourself cannot happen overnight. I said that and I mean it. You're not going to happen overnight. You are a work in progress. You're a masterpiece. You are God's magnum opus, right? And you need to remember that. And I'll tell you a true story. So a few weeks ago, I was browsing through the internet. I was on YouTube and I came across this video, and the title of the video was like how to earn 6 figures, or how I made 6 figures in 6 months selling Amazon products. And you know me, I saw 6 figures and I was attracted to that. I'm sure everybody's gone through those videos, selling Amazon products. But anyway, so I clicked on the video, I watched the whole video, right? And just to emphasize on how invested I was, I went and directly messaged the person who created the video. And luckily enough, he responded and we were talking. And as we were talking, I was asking him so many questions, and he was so kind to explain his whole process and his whole strategy. And as he began to explain, right, And as I dug a bit deeper, I became less attracted to it, right? I became less attracted to it because what I fell in love with was his results. I didn't fall in love with his process, because it began to become a big inconvenience. And to be quite honest, I wasn't willing to pay that price. I wasn't willing to pay that price. And that's the kind of level of investment that we need to have when it comes to doing our internal work before we even think about getting into relationships, right? Because to receive a blessing prematurely is only going to result in devastation. And I mean, I've had moments and opportunities where something like a relationship and marriage has presented itself and I've said no. And that's not because I don't desire it. That's not because I'm not attracted to it. That's not because I don't want that. It's because I'm simply not ready. You know, I'm not ready. I'm not ripe. And I think it takes a mature person to be able to say no to an opportunity. Not every single opportunity is a God opportunity. And if we choose, to listen to God, to obey God, He will give us the desires of our hearts when we are ready. Because I'm one of these people, and I believe that there is a time for everything. There's a time for famine. There's a time for rainfall. There's a time for harvest. There's a time for reaping. There's a time for sowing. There's a time for lack. There's a time for abundance. And there is a time for love, right? Let us not awaken love before it is time. Because if you want to have a successful relationship, you need to be a successful woman. You have to establish, the character, the rapport, within yourself, with God, and come to know that you are whole and complete, right? You are whole and complete. It's when you become the type of woman just being around you feels like a breath of fresh air. Why wouldn't you want that? Would you not want that for yourself? Because in your single season, you have an opportunity to enjoy you, to love you, to forgive you, to search you, to learn you, to discover what your non-negotiables are, to find out what makes you tick, what you're passionate about, what excites you, right? And you establish all of these understandings and all of these learnings in your single time. In your single time, there's an advantage that comes with taking some intentional reflection of just being by yourself. Here you learn to be introspective. Here you learn to discern God's voice, right? There is so much potential that lies with being in your single season, right? And then when you come to that reality and come to that realization, that you should approach your relationships from a place of sufficiency rather than deficiency. It opens up, a different realm and a different understanding of experiencing relationships. Okay? Because like I always say, the most dangerous thing that can happen is for us to receive something, when we're not ready. And I just want to clear something up, ladies. I want to clear something up. I want to clear some misconceptions that us women, sometimes have about relationships, right? A relationship isn't a substitute for God, right? Don't expect anyone to be able to quench the internal thirst that your soul desires, right? That's Jesus's responsibility. Jesus is the epitome of grace, of virtue, and fulfillment. That's his job. That's his responsibility, not any man. Not any man, right? A relationship will not cure, your low self-esteem or your low confidence. It will not do that. It will not do that, right? It will not cure your low self-esteem or your low confidence, right? In fact, it will do the opposite. It will expose your deepest insecurities, right? Your life also doesn't begin when you are married or when you're in a relationship. Your life is happening today. Right? And this is one of the things that I need to learn. I have to tell myself, and it's one thing that I'm practicing as well, to learn to be present. My life is happening today. Your life is happening right now in this moment. A relationship and marriage shouldn't be the thing that completes you. You are whole and complete, and what you're actually claiming is that you're not enough. That's a manifestation of brokenness. That's a manifestation of brokenness, and that needs your attention, right? So what I want to do is, ladies, I want to qualify the reason why you desire a relationship. We need to be able to be a woman, we need to be able to be women who are able to qualify their desires. Ask yourself in your own time, in your journaling time, in your time that you take, to be introspective, to reflect, to reassess and reevaluate your life. Ask yourself, why do I want a relationship so much? Why do I desire it so much? Are you feeling lonely? Because loneliness is not a good enough reason. And settling is not a good enough reason. Don't settle because it's the only thing that's available. Don't settle because of fear. Don't settle, because I believe that the man that God has for you is for you. And as long as you're aligned, as long as you're in purpose, you will not miss anything that God has purposed for you. Healthy relationships are motivated by giving rather than receiving. It's about serving, one another. True love is rooted not in feelings, but a mature understanding that love takes everything into consideration. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love doesn't take record of wrong. Love is forgiving. And we also need to establish this, this with ourselves. We need to learn, how to be patient. The voice of patience affirms that everything that needs to be in our life will be in our life. It will make its way to you. Because people who are in a hurry, who are in a rush, they're actually displaying that they're not really in control. Are you in control? Control of what you can control, but don't rush. Don't rush. And ladies, I just want to end with this, right? Everything is happening the way it's supposed to. You have every single thing that you need to reach your destiny in this moment, right? You are a light. You are salt, right? People are being inspired by you, and they might not even necessarily tell you. They might be watching from a distance. And I want you to know that your singlehood, again, is not a death sentence, but it's fundamental to self-mastery. And ladies, I'm a life coach. I specialize in neuro-linguistic programming. It's all to do with the mind. The mind is a powerful tool, right? And once you have dominion over your mind, nothing can be impossible for you. With God and with the right mindset, you can achieve whatever it is that you desire. So if you are interested in any one-to-one coaching sessions with myself, please feel free, to email me. I will put all of the details in the description below. But please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And ladies, I will see you on the next video. Don't rush your single season.